And we thought we'd jump out and just go half a furlong and pull him up. But I couldn't pull him up. He ran quicker time than any other trial, and well, he was just too good for them.
His first trip to the races was for the Debutant Stakes at Caulfield.
That particular day he was too fast, and he came out of the boxes and stumbled. And well, I thought that's the finish of that. It was a 900-metre race, and I thought that's the finish of that. And Shako was a horse from Adelaide, and he was pretty well fancied. He was in odds-on. But he picked himself up and he went on and won the race. Unfortunately, he hurt his joint. He was always bandaged in the stable after that.
After an 8-length win in the Maribyrnong Plate, Vane was rested until the autumn.
And now Highland releases the brakes, and it's going to be a matter of Vane first and the rest nowhere. Vane's won it about 8 lengths.
At his next start, he continued on his winning way, first up in the Merson Cooper Stakes. Next stop, the VRC Sires Produce.
At the furlong, Highland looks round. He still won't release the brakes. At 6 in front, Vane. Now he says you can stretch out a little bit, and Vane comes down to the line.
Maloney and Highland were now convinced that they had the 2-year-old who would become the first Victorian to win the Rich Golden Slipper Stakes.
On the day, there was great excitement, naturally, and I just walking out of the mounting yard, and Jim Maloney turned to me and he said, "Jack, Vane will win." And Jim very rarely says that. I went out and backed Vane at 1. It was the first Victorian to win.
Racing this time, Special Girl flew out of the boxes. However, Vane got out better.
Vane jumped brilliantly from the boxes, and well, you know, looking back on it, it was terribly easy. You know, he just faced them. I never saw a horse the whole race. From the time we left the barrier, I never saw a horse at all, and you know, it was quite a good feeling.
Special Girl, and they're followed by Del Riado, then Natal Lats. At the head of the others, Brooklyn Maid, Lady Cleaves, Constant Rhythm, then Gaelic Spirit and Toddmaster, and Peter's Empire last of all, but Vane the leader as they made the run around the turn. Well clear of Special Girl, hard ridden by Moore. Then a gap to Del Riado, followed by Natal Sophia. At the head of the others, Lady Cleaves, the leader Vane in the stretch. Under the whip, Special Girl not making much impression. They're followed by Del Riado and Gaelic Spirit finishing on well, but the Victorian Colt Vane has got it shot to bits. Safely holding Special Girl and Del Riado and Peter's Empire flashing home along the rail, but Vane is all too good, and Vane in the run of the judge, a big winner. Second, Peter's Empire. Third, Gaelic Spirit. Then Del Riado.
It was terribly emotional feeling for all of us, because I think the year before, the season before, we'd won one race in the bush from the stable. And you know, and then to get a horse like Vane, to be able to go there and win the richest race in Australia, or richest 2-year-old race anyway, it was an emotional time, and it was probably one of those periods of time where you didn't really get the full climax of it until some time after. You know, I find myself now talking more saner and more sensible about Vane than I did when Vane was there.
Vane was now being compared with Todman. Coincidentally, Vane did manage to emulate Todman in the AJC Sires Produce at Randwick. Both colts were sent out 6-1 on favourite, and both were beaten.
I told the owners, I said, if we're going to get beaten in a race, this could be it. But I said, if we get beaten, we'll still have a horse.
With the benefit of a hard run in the Sires, Vane returned to his brilliant best.
That was his best run in Sydney, including the Golden Slipper. I think that through having had a couple of runs around that way, he started to get to like it.
Vane's stake earnings of just under $85,000 were the highest ever for a 2-year-old. He was the golden boy of Australian racing. Before he commenced his 3-year-old year, an offer of $1 million was made by American interests. Owners Wally, Fred and George Johnson refused the offer.
I can remember Frank Thompson from Widden Stud, he came down here to see him at these stables, and he said, someone said to him, "That's the horse, would you know," and they tendered for him. And he just stood there leaning over the door for 10 minutes, and they were trying to get him away to look at other horses, but he just kept walking back to Vane. He was wrapped in him, you know, he was enraptured by him.
He commenced his 3-year-old year winning the weight for age freeway stakes by 5 lengths under a tight hold. In the Ascot Vale, he won in similar fashion.
Yes, I got suspended on him. That's probably one of the most unforgivable things that any jockey should to say they were suspended riding Vane, because he had so much speed on the others. But I think it was just probably overconfidence that caused that. And it was a pretty good field, the Ascot Vale. Darrell's Joy and Woodcourt in. They, you know, after that they proved that they were pretty good horses.
Highland was replaced by Roy Higgins and watched the Moonee Valley Stakes from the grandstand.
I suppose if he was ever going to be beaten again, that was the race, because it was his first attempt at a mile. And a mile at Moonee Valley was probably the hardest mile of all. And he went into it with a strange jockey. Not that that throws any light on Roy, but